Yo, this is Kieran for GOST, which is getting our shit together. And I'm delighted to be joined by my friend Troy, who is from the Facebook group Modern Valor Dating. And it's a viral group. He's doing really well. And I'd like to find out a little bit more about that, how that came about. And so welcome, Troy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Not at all. Good to speak with you. Obviously, we were speaking before we recorded about. I like the get up. I like the background. You're more professional than me. You got the pendant. Do you want to explain the pendant a little bit?
Yeah. So this is just a pendant that I got a few weeks ago. It's well, I started researching EMF radiation. No idea if it actually works or not, but it's got shungite in it, which is like a mineral that apparently absorbs or like repels EMF radiation. But
what is EMF?
Also looks cool. Oh, it's electromagnetic
frequency.
Frequency. Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Yeah, probably right.
It's just whatever the stuff that comes from Wi-Fi and like.
Right. So are you putting a band together to go and take down the 5G towers and that sort of thing?
Oh, I don't know if I'm at that level yet, but we'll see if I go like, I don't know, crazy with that in like 5 years.
No, mate, you might be laughing like 20 years down the line. Like my brain is like turned into a soup, but you've been all right. You've kept the razors. But no, good stuff. All right. Well, look, Troy, could you tell us a little bit maybe about yourself, about how you came to this point in your life where you're taking this stuff professionally and dating, and how the group came about? Maybe I'll just hand it over to you and you can shoot with that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I won't get like too deep in my life story, but yeah, I'll let you know how the group kind of came out and how I became part of it. So I've been into, approaching women for a while. I used to have social anxiety. I was really shy, kind of your standard story of most guys that get into game. But life got too painful as that shy person. So I looked online on how to kind of get more confident around people. I came across a guy named Johnny Burba. I don't know if you know, or if
an English guy, London guy.
Yeah. He first guy that I found that actually approached women on YouTube, and he had footage of it, and I was like, damn, this looks like it would work, and it's something that's like action taking. So I started doing that. Eventually I found out about more of like the game concepts, started going like hard. I became a little obsessed with it, but still trying to like keep myself from getting too obsessed with it. I had periods of getting in, periods of taking a breather. So anyway, eventually I reached a sticking point where I was very good at talking to girls. I had overcome like approach anxiety, social anxiety. I could talk to girls really well, but when it came to like getting dates and going home with them or getting them to come home with me, the intimacy part, basically, that was kind of lacking. So I decided to reach out to a mentor, and that mentor, actually two mentors that were working together, Dale, who's the main Modern Valor Dating coach, who he actually created the group Modern Valor Dating. And so I reached out to him and this other mentor, and they helped me with that sticking point. And
can I jump in there? So what is that, like a course you were doing, or did you do a consultation with them? How did that work?
It was basically a course. It was like an infield course. Basically, we would meet up. They would teach me a bunch of steps, and then we would actually go out at night and approach girls.
And how does that feel? Because obviously, like, let's say if you're I was gonna say regular person, we're all regular people, but if you're looking at this, you're not really in the industry, and you're just like, how does that work? So like, what, it's a boot camp, and you guys are meeting up, and you go on, and how are you feeling at that point? You're just like, no, because obviously you've analyzed, like, there's maybe a thing in your life that you'd like to get better at, so you're taking the action to change it, right? And the bottom line, that's what it is, and that's a good thing. But your mind's going to play tricks on you and be like, fuck, am I a loser? Like, what's going on? I'm with all these people. Like, what was that like?
Honestly, I think I got over that before I reached out to the mentors, because, like, I don't know, because basically you're talking about like ego, right? Like your mind will, or your ego will try to like play tricks on you. But the fact is, like, I mean, when I looked at myself, when I first started this stuff, I'm like, okay, I suck with women. I nothing's happening in my dating life. Like, where do I have to go but up? So I really had to be like honest with myself. So I got really, really used to being honest with myself. So it wasn't too weird. I did go in with some skepticism because I didn't want to dive too deep into like learning a bunch of tactics. I've always tried to stay pretty grounded. So I didn't want to get too obsessed with like the pickup stuff, but yeah, so I think just going in with a healthy amount of skepticism, but at the same time being honest with myself, where I was like, yo, like, this is just something that I need to do. I just need to do this for a month with these guys, just get this handled, and that's it.
So it's a repeated thing. You went out a lot of times over a month, or every weekend or something?
Yeah, it was like every Friday and Saturday, and then I think we would talk a little bit during the week, but yeah, every Friday and Saturday we would go out. They would observe me like approaching girls, and then they'd be like, all right, Troy, you're not doing this right, or you look a little nervous here. And then we would kind of like tweak behavior.
Yeah. I was wondering, it's so funny, like just hearing like, because I talk to my girlfriend about this stuff, or different women in my life or whatever that are in the know because I've had conversations with them or whatever. But like, just like a regular girl must just be like, how are you putting this much thought into it? But obviously it's on us to do that. Like that's what we as men have to do. But
yeah, man.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then so from there you saw, okay, shit, I'm making some progress here. Like, is that what happened? Or
yeah, and you know, it's funny that you say that. Like, women are like, why are they putting so much effort into it? Because I mean, it is like,
no, sorry. No, go on.
It's like true that like it's really weird that we learn this stuff, but like I feel like, you know, some guys just figure it out really early. Like they figure out how to like talk to girls, and it's like, if you've been taught the wrong thing, like if your belief system's all messed up, like you need to change that. Because a lot of us learned how to talk to girls from like Disney movies and stuff. Yeah. And we all know that doesn't really work. There might be some truth to what goes on in like a Disney movie between the male and the female character and the romance, but like, yeah.
Or you could say that I agree with you. And that is why a lot of guys have this. I mean, I'm in a lot of different groups on Facebook and stuff like that, obviously to market my wares. And like, I'm in some divorce groups, and these guys like, and you can tell it's because they went into their marriage with this mindset that you were describing, this sort of like, just like Disney mindset of like, she's my queen and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, there's so much more to the dynamics between men and women than that. It's like, I mean, I guess you could say, like, let's say if you take like a classic Disney story of like the knight in shining armor or whatever, that probably predates Disney, right? But that archetype, maybe you could say what we're trying to do now, people like you and I, is get guys to that point where it's like, you are that shining knight. And then when you come, it is like the prince has arrived. Do you know what I mean? But it's like, but we aren't just born like that. Like someone like Jordan Peterson or someone like that is going to say, it's like, you're probably not enough. You know, that's like, again, that's like a classic mindset of like on modern times now, which is like, you're enough, love yourself, self-love, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, no, not necessarily, not in all regards, you're not. And like, but you can get there, and through hard work and a bit of toil, doing some manly stuff, working on the dance of attraction, then maybe you'll get there. But sorry, I cut you off. But yeah.
Dan, that's a good point. Yeah, it's like you're neglecting the journey, right? You think you're entitled to being that guy who like does deserve the girl. And I don't know, I feel like there's a weird paradox to it, because I like to tell people like deep down they are that guy, but maybe like they've learned the wrong thing or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's like,
but part of the trials of manhood is pulling that there's a character in you, like let's say the real you, the genuine you, or the best you, and that can be extracted through hardship. So maybe that sort of bridges the gap of what you're saying there. But yeah, I mean, you just see it like, and these mindsets where I'm trying to think of like the perfect like bad mindset. I guess it is just like, it's just like, I guess it's like old fashioned thinking where we don't have the luxury of thinking like that. Like, I'll go to school and I'll do well, and then I'll go to college and I'll do well there, and I'll get a job and I'll do well there, and I'll marry and that'll be fine. And it's like, no, you can't. And there's a pedestal thing. You can't put it up on the pedestal. You have to realize your own value as well. And that's half the battle with guys getting that into their heads.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's like, yeah, you can't think that like the world owes you anything just because you did this thing, like you went to school and got a job.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's like half the people I knew like growing up is like, you know, they would go like, I actually had a friend like tell me that like verbatim. He was like, Troy, they just told me that if I just got a job, you know, if I just went to school, got a job, then girls would love me. And I'm like, sorry, man.
Yeah. And it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. We're fed that same thing about like your job when you get out. Like, you're going to go to university, then you're going to land this great job. And it's like, those old paradigms don't work anymore, man. And like, I mean, look, let's say you and I and guys our age or whatever, it's like, you were actually, sorry, I'm lumping you in. I'm older than you. So that's an insult. Sorry about that. No, but like guys in general, it's like, you want a girl, you want a woman who is kind and generous and loyal and not fake, and like is going to have your back and is going to have all these qualities, and you want her to be physically attractive, right? That's what you want. That's what we that's what we want, right? And it's like, motherfucker, they're rare. They are rare, right? And it's like, so why are you going to get it if you don't have any skills or behaviors or a coolness, a deftness, a leadership quality that the next guy doesn't? Why are you going to get it?
Yeah, you know what a lot of guys should tell themselves is, if it were easy to get a girl like that, like if it were easy to get a girl that were attractive and smart and the whole package, every guy would do it. Every guy would be getting these girls. Like, it should be hard. You should be glad that it's hard, because then you can actually like put the work into it and rise above and get that girl. And
all right, well, look, I always don't want to be too wishy-washy in these chats, because like, is there anything, maybe not like obviously not your course or anything like that, but is there one sort of technical thing that you could say, or like if you're like one little tip or way that's a guy could focus on to improve his success in this area? Could you say that?
You mean like changing his mindset, or like just in
no,
general?
I mean like, so say like, so we're having this conversation, we're like, it's about dating, it's about the success. So it's like, but also there's this whole like, you know, like the curriculum, like what do I actually have to do? What do I need to learn? What are these behaviors you're talking about? Well, if you give a little, just a little snippet into that.
Well, I feel like most guys don't. Well, first, I don't know what you're. I know this is for like more people than just us in the conversation. You know, if you show this on YouTube and stuff. But so how did you get interested in this? Do you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, well, no, I'm 32. When I remember just like sort of not really loving school, right? And then at some point, I think it was like 15 or something, we started learning psychology, and all the way up until that time, like maths, English, blah, 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 I was like, had little bits of subjects that I was okay at, but it was always a drag. And then eventually I did psychology, and I was like, fucking hell, it just lit something up inside of me, right? And then the next year or something, I think I was going to university, and the book The Game came out, right? And it was this big phenomena, but you had to like buy it in secret. And I literally went to like the bookstore and bought it. And like the guy behind the desk was like giving me like you're one of those, are you? Like, good luck, chump, like to say like that. But anyway, I read it, and like we always say, there's a load of trash in there that doesn't work, but there's a load of stuff in there that's quite eye-opening as well, right? And from there, I was just like, I had a girlfriend at the time, but I just read that, and she's like finding my notes that I've like written about it, and just like, what the fuck is this? Like, what are you doing? But it just lit this fire up inside of me that I couldn't. I just found it fascinating. I found it. And the fact that you could learn this like theory, watch like Infield online, which is guys just doing this online, and see like, holy shit, okay, like here's the theory, here's it working in front of me, and then I can go out and try it myself. It's like a great, like skateboarding or anything like that. That's fun. And you just realize like, shit, okay, like what they're saying is actually working. And if I follow that, I'm getting better. And sort of, I got better and had some fun with dating, and then I had some serious relationships, and lucky enough to meet my girl that I've got now. And then it was just a case of like, yeah, it was just the thing that I was most interested about. And I bored all my friends to tears talking about it. And but then I was like helping them out a little bit sometimes, a little bit of relationship advice or whatever. Then friends of friends, and then it was like, well, you know what, let's just do a business. So that's the little story of Ghost. But
okay, so you have like a big passion just for like human psychology, just how the human mind kind of works.
Yeah. I think it was like, because you said that you came up and you're a little bit you're quite nervous, and it wasn't something that came easy. And I would say I'm probably in the middle. I wasn't Mr. Jock who was loads of girlfriends. I wasn't the other guy. I was sort of just in the middle. And so so for me, I didn't necessarily get drawn to this industry because of like a massive need, although I wanted to get better. It was more a thing of like, this just, for whatever reason, really, it's the way, some people are born to be mechanics or whatever. And this, I was just born to gel with this stuff. I don't know why. I'm interested in people and the psychology behind it.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Because I know before we started recording, we started talking about like a healthy way to go about this. I feel like that is you kind of went about it in a healthy kind of way, because you just took this interest and you started building it, as opposed to like, I'm so good, like I'm becoming this, awesome dude. Because like, you guys who.
I see what you're saying, like the ego thing, like just like, yes, I'm sure there was times of that, but I was quick to slap myself in the face and be like, fuck that, there's no ego thing. But you say that about healthiness, I mean, like we'll talk in 10 years if Ghost is a success, because like I've been like, fuck getting a real job, fuck all of that, like I'm doing the dating thing. So if it works, then it will have been healthy. If not, but I think it will. I think we'll be all right. So, but yeah. But no, I mean, I definitely think we should segue into that and like talking about how. So if you're unaware of this, lots of guys can come into this industry. They get really good at this stuff, and they become little sort of social manipulators. And so how do we avoid that, Troy? How's a healthy path through this stuff?
Well, if you become, I just want to say first, and I never like to use scare tactics, but I have to tell you what's going to go wrong if you do go about like the manipulative way. So if you try to just learn all these tactics and you try to not, you don't really show any vulnerability on your part, and you don't show your personality at all, and you're just using tactics the whole time, two things happen. One, your relationships with women are ruined, because when you get into a relationship with a woman and she doesn't actually get to know who you are, she just starts liking you for the tactics. If she doesn't see through those tactics, if you manage to actually get into a relationship with a woman based on those tactics, it's going to blow up later on. So she's going to find out who you really are. The relationship's just it's not going to be a genuine relationship, and the truth always comes out. So that's why it's best to be authentic from the beginning. And the other thing that it does is it's not good for you as a man, because when you're going out and you're trying to put on this persona, like let's say, okay, I need to put on my pickup persona, and you just neglect your own personality, and you neglect yourself, and just for the sake of doing what you think will make girls happy and make girls like you start getting rewarded only for your tactics. And then on the inside, your self-esteem starts to like die. So you end up, and
it's like she loves the game, not me. It's like rappers and famous people get the same thing, where they're like, she loves the money. It's not, or she loves the clout. But yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's kind of this weird thing. And in a second, I'll get into like, I guess, how to go about the journey. But also, I just want to say that like it's this weird thing where you have to kind of stretch your personality and try different things at the beginning to figure out what resonates with you and who you are. Because I actually had a good conversation with somebody on a live stream that we did like a month or two ago, where this guy was like, Troy, you seem like kind of a laid back guy. Do you think it's necessary to be like this crazy, fun dude when you're at the club talking to girls? And I'm like, dude, I had to go through that phase where I was, dancing like crazy and like doing all this crazy stuff, lifting girls up. Like I had to go through that, because then I had to find out
what he's lifting them up with consent. Just gotta say that. But sorry.
Oh yeah.
I just like to always pepper that in so I can never get done for it. Yeah. He's with consent.
Yeah, like a girl I was talking to, and then like, with consent. But I feel like you have to stretch your personality a little bit and then find out who you really are. I think that learning skills with women teaches you about who you are, because it exposes who you are, because you find out how you handle certain situations. You know, like you go out and maybe you're on like a double date or something, and you have like, it's you, the girl that you're on a date with, and then, you know, her friend, and then her friend's date. So it's like, you know, 2 guys, 1 girl, or 2 guys, 2 girls. Yeah. And you are put in a position where you guys, maybe it's like 1 a.m., you've had a really good night, and then you need to find out what to do next. It's like, oh no, do we take a cab? Do we like call this friend for a ride? Do we do this? It teaches you to think in the moment, okay, like I need to lead the group safely back to our apartment so then we can continue our night there. Yeah. So then you find out like what you're made of in that situation where you need to be a leader, you know?
No, absolutely. I love that stuff, because it's like, that thing where, and last time it fucked up because you didn't have the answer to say quickly. Yeah. And it's like, a great one is that where it's like, you're talking to a girl and she's loving it, right? And then the friend comes over, and maybe the friend doesn't get as much attention. So maybe she is a little bit bitter, and maybe it is looking to mess this one up for you or whatever it is. And then it's like, but then once you realize how to maneuver through that situation, like, oh, you shine the light of yourself onto the friend, like, hey, like, oh my God, like, how are you? And give her some attention, and really do it like genuinely, and like really ask about her, and include her in the fun, and then maybe you ask her like, I'm really getting on with so-and-so, like her friend that you were initially attracted to. Is it all right if we go back and keep chatting, or however you handle it? And then that works, and you're like, fuck yeah, that's great. I've learned something there. And like that stuff happens all the time. It's like there was a nice little connection that you had with someone there, and some outside influence just came and fucked it up. And like you're saying, the part of this stuff is going through it, banging the drum, and realizing like, oh, okay, there's a creative solution to this over here. But sorry.
Dude, that's where like self-awareness really comes in, because then this, you know, I've taken like a lot of action, but I think other guys have taken more action than me. But I think I don't know, I've not to sound cocky, but I've spoken with people who I've seen like I know a little bit more than them, even though they've been going out for more years than me. And I think that there's value in writing down what you've learned from a night out. So like, you know, like you said, like including the friend. Yeah, I had a point where I dealt with that exact problem as well, where I'm like, wow, I really didn't, like, deep down, you know what's right and you know what's wrong. Like it's right to treat her friend like a person. And there's technical things like, you know, like, okay, focus mostly on the girl that you're talking to, flirt with her, but then like include her friend a little bit. But yeah, there's that like feeling of like, okay, I should be genuinely talking to her and including her as well. You just know that's right. And when you write that stuff down at the end of the night, you're like, okay, the next time I encounter that, I need to make sure that I do that.
Yeah. And also, I mean, on that as well, there's going to be like multiple things that you could do that would work. And then it's like, okay, what's the very best thing? And then like, you sort of, so let's, in that micro example, right? So it's like the girl is coming over and she's trying to bring her friend back or whatever, because she's a bit better, right? So, so she's doing that. And like, maybe you could just have this like ridiculously like stern look on your face, which is like, he is not to be fucked with, right? And girls will respond to that. They'll be like, oh, okay, sorry, I didn't realize. But it's like, maybe that's not the optimum. Maybe we don't want to put that energy out into the world. And so it becomes like that at every facet of your personality, or not every facet of your personality, but every way that we interact with this game stuff, we can find like, okay, what's the best good response in this situation, right? And then like, if you times that like against all the different facets that's happening in, it sort of makes you a better person overall, because you're like, oh, okay, this is the nice optimal way of dealing with this. And you've got that. I'm making a horrible job of trying to articulate this, but I think you get what I'm saying. Like, it's just, it's just yeah, and it makes you an all-round better person because you're picking the best way to deal with all of these different headaches, basically.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the only way to do it is to make those mistakes and then learn. Because if you don't go out and make those mistakes, there's no experience in your head, there's no reference experience, and there's no emotion attached to it. Because a lot of what I see the mistake with a lot of guys is they try to learn and learn and learn and learn and do things perfectly. It's like it's never going to be like the getting good with women involves making a lot of mistakes. Even the best guys in the world are going to make, like, they're not perfect, you know, they're still on their journey.
Yeah, no, and that's part of it. I mean, like, say if I've got we can't in London at the moment because we're locked down, but say if I've got a client and I take them out, and part of doing this, part of showing a client is demonstrating it first. And my girl doesn't like to hear that bit, but that's the case. I'm not obviously going to kiss a girl or anything like that, but I'm going to show the client how he has to do something, right? And so so I'll do that, but it might fuck up. Like it might be the start of the night and maybe I'm not ready, or I'm out in my head a little bit too much, or I'm like, oh shit, this has got to go well because I'm showing the client. And it's like, so I've got to prep the guy and just go, look, it's not going to be like James Bond perfect at every stage for me, and it's certainly not going to be for you, and that's fine. Like luckily we're in a big city, we've got good intentions, and we're just having a chat with a girl, and if that doesn't go so great, we can go and have another chat with another girl. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing if you know, if the instructor kind of like messes up a little bit, because it takes the pressure off the student too, because it's like, oh wait, he's like this, or at least that's how I saw it. Like whenever I saw like an instructor go out and like get rejected or something, or you know, a YouTube video where this big pickup guy like shows his rejections, I was like, oh shit, that happens to him too. I never looked at it as like oh, he's fake, see, because that to me is just like it's just a bad attitude where it's like, oh, see, I knew he was fake. We all suck. It's like, no, like we can all just go out and like get some results with women, but you're gonna make mistakes along the way.
Yes. Yeah. No, exactly. Well, okay. Well, look, I think what we're in a broad sense, what we're saying there is like there is a healthy way to learn this if you're coming in, if you're a younger guy or whatever, or you're an older guy and you're like, right, I need to make a change here in my life. I'm not where I want to be with this stuff. I want to have more options with women. Then come in. Like, I mean, look, you go to Modern Valor Dating, which Troy runs. You go to my YouTube channel. Like the curriculum is there. Like, I'll show you how to use eye contact and be a leader and be socially cool and all the rest of it, and be loud enough so that you can be heard and all that sort of stuff, and have the right tonality. But then after that, once that's sort of gone in the theory and you're going out and you're implementing it, then it's a case of not letting your ego get too big. And being authentic, like you said at the start there, Troy. Like, it's like we're not learning tricks here. We're not learning negs and fucking stupid shit. We're learning, all right, this is actually how you become an attractive man, genuinely, right deep down into your soul. Like, so that's good.
Getting back to that question, because I kind of like went off a little bit, I guess, because you asked like 5 minutes ago, like what if somebody's like getting into the game, like what will their journey look like?
Sure. Yeah.
So like I think step one for somebody who's looking to like if just a random guy off the street is like, all right, I want to get good with girls, first thing that he should do is take action just to see where he's at. And
what is that? So is that like he should just go up to the next girl that he finds attractive and just try something and see, and just that's where you're at, or is that what you mean? Or
yes, well, okay, maybe like I feel like baby steps are the best way to go about it. So like maybe learn like one thing. Like for me, the first 3 things that I tried, which I learned from Johnny Burba, were eye contact, vocal projection, and squaring up. So you know, maintaining eye contact, you know, facing her, and then talking loud enough so she could hear me. And I used the line like, hey, I thought you were attractive, I just wanted to say hi. And then I would try to keep the conversation going any way I could. Like, so where are you from? What do you study in school? And that's not necessarily good game, but who gives a shit? I got like some results from it just by doing that. So yeah, I think taking action is super important, because without, like I said before, without that action, you don't have those experiences. Yeah, you don't have those reference experiences where you can look back and be like, okay, I need to fix that next time. So I think like action should always come first, and then you should just like, go to, our group or go to your group and like type in a question like, hey, how do you deal with this situation? And then once they learn, go out and try it again. And then try it again. And yeah,
and it's exciting. It's like a role-playing game or something. It's like there's 15 30 different like attributes that you need to get good at, and like maybe your voice sucks at the moment but you're fun, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, like in your little circle of 6 really tight mates, like you're the funny one, like that's great, but you're not getting any girls at the moment. We can take that, we can add a few little bits to that, improve other areas, and you'll be good to go. Like it'll take time and hard work, but you'll get there.
And in the back of your head, always keeping in like what your intent is, because I don't know about you, but like when I first started this, I kind of knew what my intent was. I was like, all right, I want to walk up to a girl, get her to go on a date with me, and then go on a date. Like that was my intent. But like somewhere along the way, I think I started thinking I lost that intent, and I was just practicing these tactics, and I would just stand there and be like, and I would throw out a few lines, and then I wouldn't know where to go with it. But it's like, you always have to keep that intent. Like, what are you actually doing? Like, you're not just going up to a girl just to go up to a girl. Like, you're going up to a girl because you want to get to know her, maybe go on a date and maybe have sex with her. Like,
And that's, and again, that's a nuts thing for clients, because it's like, what have they got going up in their head? They're just like, firstly, like we said before, they're like, maybe they're a bit weirded out that they're on a course doing this. And then they're like, okay, I'm doing this action because my instructors just told me to do this action. It's like, you kind of almost need to go, I forget that for a second. Like, I'm a man, like, and I'm attracted to that girl over there, and I'd like to go and say hi and maybe meet her. And if she's cool, like, continue the interaction. And like, that's it. And that's a nice, pure intention.
For real. Yeah. Yeah. No, I like what you said there. Cause it's like, in society, especially in, like our modern, especially in American society, like we're taught to follow orders. We're taught from, a very young age to do what somebody says, to do what the instructor says. So like, it's kind of a weird thing, that we're like instructors, but I don't want a student to just do something because I'm telling him to do it. I don't want him to do something because he thinks that he has to do it. He has to be like, yo, I am a man. I'm an independent man. I have my own wants and needs and values, and my own things that I want to do in life, my own mission, and I'm reaching out to people to help me with that. But at the end of the day, it is my mission. And I think that's really important for a man to like have that conversation with himself.
Definitely. And like, I just sort of, it's slightly tangential, but kind of similar to that, is that I found when I was like getting into this stuff, it's like remembering something. When you hear a new technique, I suppose you could call it, or like a new way of doing something within this industry, you're like, holy shit, that, like, it instantly makes sense. Right, you're like, oh yeah, I can see immediately why that works, and it's kind of like that. Like, when you're the guy, it's like, a line. I mean, we're talking about a really specific circumstance, which is like a client on a boot camp with us, say. But it's like, just forget that for a second. If you're just like a guy who wants to get better at this stuff, just say to yourself, like, no, I'm not doing anything scary. I've got pure intentions. I want to meet cool girls and have a consensual, fun time with them. Like, and so I'm going to go and approach them, and we're going to see what happens. If they're cool and they like me, we'll progress things, and we'll go from there. And it's like, that's almost enough. You know what I mean? It's like, that's like, just take that and just go. Because like you're saying, it's like, if you get worried about too much technique and too much blah, 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 you might not get out the door and do it. So.
It is almost like you were like remembering something that you forgot, because like when you I don't like I'm not saying a kid is the best example of like how to game, but if you look at a kid, or if you like think back to when you were like 4 years old, before any like social conditioning got in your head, it's like, did you ever have, like one of the biggest complaints about guys is approach anxiety. They're afraid to approach women in public, especially now with COVID. It's like, as a kid, like, have you ever seen like a 3 or 4 year old on a playground walk up to their mom and be like, I'm afraid because I have or like I want to go
Yeah,
talk to
yeah,
that kid. Like I want to talk to that other kid, but I have approach anxiety. It's like
yeah,
kids don't
yeah.
think that way. It's like you were born to go communicate with other humans. You were born to connect with people. So it's like, yeah, like we have that in us. We just need to like rediscover it and like let it out.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's so much in what you're just saying there. It's like it is that's it. I mean, and it's like look at like alcohol, like that. Why like people say like we've been fermenting alcohol for like tens of thousands of years, right? So it's like, and there's I think I saw this meme where it was like Homo sapiens like developed like consciousness like 200,000 years ago, and then like alcohol like is invented like 10,000 years later or something, because it's just like we got into our heads and we immediately like don't like that. Then we get out of my head again. Like, and that's why is alcohol so popular, because it's allowing us to just the voice in our head that is reminding us of all our little social bonds and all of that is just quieting down a little bit, and we can just be a little bit more comfortable in ourselves. And it's like, look, and there is a balance there. You don't want to just lose your mind and do whatever you want and like go around crazy. But most people aren't expressing themselves as truly as they could be. And do you see what I mean? It's like they could express themselves way more truly to their own personality and still not be a belligerent arsehole. There's loads of room in there that they could just express themselves more. And that, I mean, like people in our industry, we talk about hitting state a lot, which is this mental state, which is like optimum for doing this stuff, right? Like if you go out on a night clubbing and you're speaking to 15, 30 different people, and like the interactions are getting better and better and better, and maybe you're kissing one girl over here, you get a number over here, and you just feel on top of the world. You feel like there's nothing you can't do, and there's no approach anxiety at that point. There's no anything. It's just you are Superman. And like, and it's funny, and it's like you don't tend to hear of things going wrong. It's like as if like you've got the social bonds are already there in your head. You're not going to do anything too weird, but everything you want to do works, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, no, I've thought a lot about state. My opinion on state right now is like you should know how to do things, like how a social interaction goes, so that you can, talk to a girl in or out of state. But yeah, no, that's some pretty deep stuff you're talking about there. It's like state, I think, and you might agree with me or you might not, but like I think state comes from you are like almost validating yourself. Everything's already good. There's nothing that you need from the outside, because you've already, maybe, I don't know, maybe you're already having a good day, or maybe on the inside you just feel really, really good about yourself, and there's nothing outside that could bother you. So you're just not putting any pressure on yourself to be perfect, and you're just like
I definitely think that's some of it. So again, I mean, just if you're not in the industry and you're like, state is this thing of like we say, like you like imagine like it's your birthday party and everyone like who's at the event is your friend, and it's like there's balloons spelling out your name. It's like people are cheering you, like it's almost like you're a rock star and you jump onto the crowd and they're lifting you up. Like how amazing you'd feel in that state. Or you've gone to a club and you're good at this stuff and you've gone and spoken to loads of different women and that's gone really well, right? And what I think it is more is like we're supposed to be in tribes of about 150 people, right? And we're a pack animal. We know exactly where we are status. Like if an alpha male comes into a room, like, and he like you sort of know really quickly, right? And so I think that state thing it's that we've proven to ourselves that we're almost not the boss of that environment, but we're just very comfortable and very safe in that environment. And it's like there used to be these drills that guys would do from different companies, which is like just go out into the street and just like would pound your chest and like scream or something like that. It sounds stupid, right? But the logic behind it is you're showing yourself that you can act in this really like hyper masculine way, stupid way, but hyper masculine, and it's going to be okay. No one's going to club you in the head. Do you see what I mean? So then once you do that big thing, it's almost like an alpha move, but like a pre-human alpha move, like beating your chest and shouting. If you do that, and then like the environment's just like, okay, that was fine. Like you feel like, oh wow, okay, I feel a bit more safe here, and then you feel a little bit more relaxed, and And there you go. But yeah, I'm not necessarily advising doing that, but it's an interesting phenomenon. If you did do it, you would feel slightly more relaxed afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I used to do on my college campus is just like say hi to as many people as possible. Like 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 if I had to give a presentation or something, I would walk through my campus just going, "Hey, how's it going? Hi, how's it going?" And like
Nice. Yeah.
by the time I got to the presentation, it was like I felt like like better about it.
But that's great. I mean, and there's parallels between like, if you're a public speaker, you'd warm your voice up, or a singer, or a comedian. Like if you're a comedian, you'd be back in the green room, like chatting with your mates and making each other laugh, and then you go out onto the stage maybe, and that's, or you might just want to be a bit more in your own zone. But yeah, no, it's got lots of parallels to other things. Listen, I have had a fantastic time talking to you here, man, and Troy, I think I'd definitely be keen to do it again. I think it'd be a nice place to wrap up. And if you could tell people again where they can reach you, I think that'd be good.
So you can reach me in a couple places. So like the best place would be on Facebook. My name on there is Troy Valor. So the name Troy, Troy, and then Valor, Valor. And I'm part of the big group Modern Valor Dating. That one was created by Dale, but we all kind of like help contribute to it. And then my specific group actually is Modern Valor Dating, Small Town Dating. And it's like kind of a branch of it where I just focus on like meeting women in like more smaller places, like smaller cities, suburban places. And on Instagram, it's at Valor Troy. So yeah, and I appreciate you letting me plug that in here, man. And I appreciate you having me on. This was really good.
Not at all. And like you say, like I mean, look, we're still relatively small at the moment, and like I always say, if you've watched this, if you got to the end, if you've got any questions, like I say, because we're still small at the moment, I can directly answer whatever it is you have to say about this industry that you might want answered. So that's great. No, listen, the pleasure's all mine, Troy, and thank you very much. And hopefully we'll do it again fairly soon.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Good man.